morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and today another detailed forecast update coming your way. We've got a lot to get through today, including some severe thunderstorms now in the forecast across southeastern Queensland and the northeast of New South Wales. And we'll also give a brief look at the tropical forecast. All of that plus more coming up in today's weather forecast. If you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. The support in the videos lately has been much appreciated. So let's start things off over in the southeast of Queensland. You can see on the satellite and radar imagery we do have a weak cold front brushing through the northeast of New South Wales at this time, now moving into the southeastern corner of Queensland, which is bringing some light showers and the odd patch of rainfall here and there. However, temperatures across the southeast of Queensland are expected to remain warm over the coming couple of days, and as such we are looking at the threat of severe weather from the form of thunderstorms over the next week or so. So let's play this forecast through right now. You can see today it's going to be a warm day, already into the mid to high 20s across parts of Queensland southeast. Brisbane a warm 24 right now, and it's humid as well. Temperatures will continue to rise, and as such thunderstorms are expected to blow up here and there across central to southeastern parts of Queensland, around Charleville and up towards Rolleston. We've got a bit of a patch of thunderstorms expected to blow up here. Not expecting severe thunderstorms. They will be hit and miss and quite hard to forecast as well. So nothing really to write home about throughout the course of today. Most likely to fire up at around 2 or 3 p.m. local time. They'll be most active at around 4 to 6 p.m. local time before clearing out by sunset. Throughout the course of tomorrow, we're also expecting the chance of a few weak thunderstorms to blow up in a similar fashion and a similar area to where they're blowing up throughout the course of today. Again, nothing severe. It's going to be from Monday onwards where we're going to see the threat of severe thunderstorms start to pipe up. And this is going to be from a trough line extending across the Queensland coastline from a low pressure system connecting inland towards Queensland, and this is going to blow up a few thunderstorms, potentially severe ones as well, at Monday afternoon. Now, the thunderstorm chance still does remain very low across parts of southeastern Queensland, but if they do blow up, they will have a good shot of going severe. They're just going to be really isolated and very hit and miss, but the environment will be favourable for them if they do get themselves rolling. It's Tuesday that most forecasts are pointing out to be the most significant day for severe thunderstorms, or at least the most significant day for severe thunderstorm chances, and I'm going to break that down for you right now. You can see from Tuesday early afternoon a few thunderstorms starting to fire up along the Sunshine Coast and a few down in the scenic rim around the Gold Coast and the northeast of New South Wales, and some thunderstorms extending south to Taree and Newcastle in New South Wales. Now, throughout the course of Tuesday, the thunderstorms will blow up in quite dramatic fashion in the afternoon and evening hours. We could be seeing the isolated severe cell here and there across parts of central inland, southeastern Queensland out towards Maroochydore and up the Sunshine Coast. However, again, the chances seem to have been reduced for significant severe thunderstorms. Definitely the chance of supercell seems to be off the table at this time, but the chance of a couple of severe cells producing some isolated pockets of heavy rainfall and straight line damaging winds do look to be possible at this time. However, I don't expect significant severe thunderstorms to be a problem across southeastern Queensland, just a few firing up here and there. I'd be surprised if Brisbane didn't cop a thunderstorm at least somewhere within its metro area or around the suburbs, but again, the chances there seem to have fallen off a little bit from yesterday, so Tuesday all in all does seem to be a little bit more of a wildcard forecast compared to yesterday, when we were really certain that thunderstorms were going to fire up consistently across southeastern Queensland. The chances just seem to have been reduced marginally from yesterday. But still though, where those thunderstorms do fire up across the northern parts of the Sunshine Coast, inland towards Kingaroy, Gympie and up towards Bundaberg and Gladstone, there will be some pretty significant rainfall accumulations out there, potentially up to 50 millimetres of the stuff, because these thunderstorms will be slow moving. It will be in pretty typical fashion to what you get for this time of the year up in October in southeastern Queensland. Nothing really out of the ordinary, just might be a little bit more intense than normal. Now watch this forecast closely, because we've got a lot to be breaking down on Wednesday. So in just a few minutes we're going to break down a very complicated rainfall event that's expected to develop across southeastern Queensland. I'm just going to finish off with these thunderstorms here, explaining how they're going to be firing up and what the chances are. So in terms of humidity, which is a core aspect for thunderstorms to fire themselves up with, it looks like mid-level humidity is going to be pretty solid across parts of Queensland or southeastern Queensland, so thunderstorms are going to have a pretty easy time blowing up, especially along the Sunshine Coast where there will be high humidity values. They will struggle a little bit further down towards the Gold Coast and the Brisbane area. It looks like humidity is just a little bit too low down there for significant thunderstorms to fire up, so the severe thunderstorm chances look to be concentrated along the Sunshine Coast. In terms of wind as well and wind shear, which is a very important factor of thunderstorms, high levels of wind shear can create some pretty intense thunderstorms. Again, it looks like it's just a little bit too stable and a little bit too calm around the Brisbane sort of area, so I'm not expecting anything significant fire up there. But in terms of mid-level and upper-level wind shear, it looks pretty good for some thunderstorms to blow up along the Sunshine Coast and a little bit further north of that as well in the southeast of Queensland on Tuesday afternoon. I'm just going to oversimplify this forecast as well. It looks like the chances are going to be there for pulse thunderstorms earlier on in the afternoon before they do turn into a more sort of squall line later on in the afternoon. It'd take me minutes to explain that, so that's just what is expected at this time. But yeah, let's just move on from Tuesday now and move into Wednesday and see what we're expected in terms of this rainfall event. So we're going to see an onshore flow start to develop along the Queensland coastline on Wednesday, still connected to this trough line that's creeping up the Queensland and New South Wales coastline, and this is going to funnel a lot of moisture ashore. Wednesday night, we're going to see a bunch of thunderstorms fire up again. Now, they're going to be more concentrated inland, and I would be surprised if we didn't see long-lived severe thunderstorms around the Rockhampton, Gladstone, Billawheeler, Dingo and Emerald sort of area. I reckon on Wednesday afternoon and evening there is a very good chance of some long-lived severe thunderstorms out here with some very heavy rainfall, damaging winds, maybe even large hailstones as well. However, once you get further south into the southeast of Queensland, I reckon it's just going to be a bit of a rainfall event, or more so of a rainfall event, a couple of lightning strikes here and there, but not like regular thunderstorms where they blow up and then collapse in on themselves. It's just going to be long-lived, moderate to locally heavy rainfall along the southeastern Queensland corner of things, with the more intense thunderstorms located further north on Queensland's coastline. But yeah, throughout the course of Wednesday, it looks like it's going to be a really favourable environment up outside of Rockhampton and this sort of area. It looks like it's going to be very, very good for thunderstorms to blow up here. By Wednesday afternoon, things will slowly ease off, and you can see there is still a little bit of rainfall associated with this low pressure system offshore from the Queensland area, persisting through to Thursday. I don't really know what to make of this forecast here. I could just take it at face value, but I do like to break things down and explain them in greater detail in this video, but I really can't put my thumb on what is driving this weather event. I'm not really seeing a low pressure system, which would be the reason why this rainfall is just lingering offshore from the Sunshine Coast. So we're going to check back on this in a couple of days and see if it is still a feature on the forecast. But it looks like the forecast models want to make a ton of rainfall along the Queensland coastline, in particular the Sunshine coastline, on Wednesday and Thursday, the 9th and 10th of October, respectively. And in terms of a ton of rainfall, I mean, take a look at this. In the 24 hours between Wednesday and Thursday, we're talking up towards 130 millimetres here. Maroochydore expecting a drenching of about 100 millimetres, and then up towards Noosa as well, between 70 and 100 millimetres. I mean, it's not a huge amount of rainfall, a vast amount of rainfall for this part of Queensland. We're talking not even tropical rainfall in terms of the comparative scale for southeastern Queensland. But just considering I don't know what to make of the weather event here, it is quite hard for me to put a thumb on what to actually expect. While we're on the rainfall forecast here, let's just see what rainfall accumulations are expected. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about thunderstorms here, especially along the central coast of Queensland here between Rockhampton and Hervey Bay. The rainfall is going to be very volatile, and it will look completely different to what this forecast is suggesting. However, as a general guidance, this is a pretty good map to be using. We're expecting totals between 20 and 40 millimetres for a lot of locations across more centralised locations of Queensland. Great news for Rockhampton, Ogmore, Gladstone, Agnes Water, Bundaberg, that sort of area. They're in desperate need of some rainfall, so 20 to 40 millimetres is looking absolutely amazing for them, and they would be very excited to hear this on the forecast. However, from thunderstorms, there is a little bit of an element of uncertainty here. We're talking about the potential for up to 100 millimetres of rainfall under the right thunder cell, and if places miss out on the rainfall, which looks to be likely as you get further north towards Ogmore and Rockhampton, and then further inland towards Emerald, and then down towards Roma and Rolleston, the rainfall can be very hit and miss, and there might be places that pick up 0 millimetres from 3 days of chance of thunderstorms. Now, in the southeast of Queensland, especially Wednesday and Thursday, if that rainfall event does materialise, we will be talking about a much more certain amount of rainfall, somewhere between sort of that 20 to sort of 60 millimetre threshold, which is still decent and what they do need across Queensland's southeast. However, again, it does remain a little bit volatile from the thunderstorms that are expected to blow up Tuesday night. Now, in summary, because I have very much overcomplicated this forecast, with Saturday, Sunday, Monday, not really really expecting the chance of thunderstorms across the southeast of Queensland. If they do fire up, they're going to be around that Charleville sort of area. Tuesday, we're expecting the chance of thunderstorms to blow up across the southeast of Queensland. If they do go severe, they will be around the Sunshine Coast, around that Gympie, up towards Bundaberg sort of area. But again, the chance of severe thunderstorms probably between 20 and 40%. It's not overly high at this time. And then for Wednesday and Thursday, we're talking about a pretty big expanse of thunderstorms developing up towards Rockhampton and Mackay, or inland from those locations at least. A lot of those thunderstorms could be severe. Just taking a look at this forecast here with a lot of energy available for them. And then rainfall down towards the southeast of Queensland. Again, I just really don't know exactly what to make of this forecast here on Thursday, which is very bad as a weather forecaster with the following that I have, but I only like saying things that I'm pretty certain are going to happen, and I just cannot draw conclusions and certainty from this weather event. It just doesn't make sense to me on this forecast now, the rainfall event that's developing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We will keep a very close eye on things, and I guarantee that I'll have an answer by Monday or Tuesday this week, and it is certainly something to keep in mind, just considering how much rainfall is expected. But like I said, I only like reporting on things that I know for sure, or reasonably for sure, are going to occur. That is a lot of forecast for the southeast of Queensland. There is actually a little bit more rainfall on the way as well later on in the forecast period. You can see inland parts of Queensland expecting a drenching from Friday onwards, but that's a talk for another time. That's still about a week away, so we will give that a little bit of love in a later forecast update. But let's talk about things more tropical at this time. We've got really no winter weather to be reporting on. There is still a little bit of rainfall here and there for Victoria and Tasmania, but in terms of winter rainfall for parts of Western Australia and South Australia, it looks like it's packed up and winter has finally carked it, which is great news for summer lovers and people that just generally like better weather than what we have been having down in the south. In terms of tropical weather across the Northern Territory and WA, we've still got those showers and thunderstorms blowing up. Hector looks to be getting more and more active by the day, which is great to see across parts of the Northern Territory, Melville Island in particular, where Hector is. It looks like those convective thunderstorms are now really starting to blow up, which is fantastic to see. In terms of sea surface temperatures as well, which is something I've been keeping an eye on in the background, they are starting to get quite high. We're talking about temperatures up towards 30, even touching 31 in places offshore from WA and the Northern Territory. So it's starting to get really warm up there. Typical for this time of the year, but I reckon the sea surface temperatures are about 3 or 4 weeks ahead of where they should be, which is a little bit concerning for tropical cyclones. I did make a note in the forecast that we will see a reasonably early start to cyclone season, especially in comparison to recent years. I would be surprised if we don't have a named tropical cyclone by the end of November, and this is quite concerning, especially when we see a tropical cyclone line itself up for landfall. With sea surface temperatures like that, there's not going to be too much stopping a system from producing at least a ludicrous amount of rainfall, but also some pretty significant winds if wind shear doesn't stand in the way of said system. So yeah, it's starting to get a little bit concerned up here with the sea surface temperatures. They're also going to be providing a lot of moisture and a lot of available energy for rainfall events. Queensland is a little bit of a better situation. You can see sea temperatures here only just above the tropical threshold, 25, 26 degrees Celsius. It is still warmer than average for Queensland. The Queensland and Coral Sea generally takes a little bit longer to warm up compared to the West Australian and the Northern Territory waters, and that's probably why things have been kept pretty dry across parts of far north Queensland. But once these temperatures get up towards 27, 28, 29 degrees Celsius, it's going to be some pretty heavy rain, and then on the way for Queensland, just with how the currents are flowing at this time. So all in all, it looks like the tropics, especially the tropical waters, are starting to warm up and starting to get a little bit more active now. No real rainfall on the horizon yet, especially for Queensland and parts of the Northern Territory. West Australia is steadily becoming wetter and wetter. However, you can see the monsoon, the line of rainfall now moving south of the Solomon Islands into Papua New Guinea and the southern parts of Papua New Guinea at that. It isn't going to be long until that is over far north Queensland and parts of the Northern Territory. So I'm very excited and very anxious to see the true break of the monsoon season up there. I don't think it is too far off, and I know it's something we talk about every single video, but again, I just don't think it's going to be too far off. And just before I finish this video, I would like to give a brief temperature forecast. We are moving into another hot spell in towards the middle and later parts of next week, especially over in the west and the north. Again, typical for this time of year, so I'm not reporting on 40-degree temperatures because it's record-breaking or whatever. I'm not one of those guys. I'm just reporting on it because it is going to get quite warm across parts of South Australia, the Northern Territory, and even into Western Australia as well. So Wednesday, you can see a low-pressure system developing across the NT and parts of WA, and we're going to see temperatures go into the early 40s, even into into the mid-40s for parts of WA. Quite warm for this time of the year, but it's only about 5 or 6 degrees above average, and they're used to it as well. Thursday, it's going to get quite warm as well. We're going to see a west coast trough develop across the WA coastline. That's going to bring temperatures up for Friday. You can see Perth expecting its first true 30-degree day for the summer season on Friday. It's going to get quite warm down there. We're also expecting warm temperatures into South Australia and parts of Queensland as well. And then you can see in towards the later parts of next week, it really just starts to kind of run away warm up from there into the 30s for most of South Australia, parts of New South Wales, mid-30s for parts of central Queensland, and it's going to be warm again across Western Australia. So it looks like the temperatures are now really starting to warm up. We did say this about a month ago, and they have been steadily warming up from there, but it looks like we're going to see some runaway warming now start to occur across parts of Western Australia, which is great to see because it is about this time of the year when we start to see temperatures go into the mid-40s for parts of central Pilbara and then into the Kimberley, and it's not going to be long until we start to see those really high temperatures start to develop there. So keep an eye on the forecast models. It's going to get quite juicy up in Western Australia in terms of heat. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit further for that rainfall. It's a long-winded forecast update, especially for what we have on the forecast. If I have left anything unanswered, I mean, I kind of did butcher that forecast for Queensland, so if that didn't make sense, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. A special shout out to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now. They could not run this show without them, so again, their support is much appreciated. And also a correction from yesterday. I said Australia didn't have a convective forecast model. Well, we do. It's the Access C, and it was brought up in the comments, and I just completely wasn't aware of it, so I've been living under a big rock for the last couple of years because I would have been all over a convective model. So interesting stuff, and that is just the help of the community that we have, which is fantastic to see. So if I do get something wrong, and you can correct me in the comment section down below, I'm always open to feedback, so please do let me know in the comment section down below. But thank you so much for watching the video to this point. Your support is much appreciated. That is all from me today, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.